All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning, I am VC Pramod and with me is Saira Mujtaba. The headlines. Portfolios of Union Ministers announced following yesterday's cabinet reshuffle. Home Minister Amit Shah given additional charge of newly created Cooperation Ministry. Mansukh Mandviya is the new Health Minister. Labour and Environment Ministries go to Bhupender Yadav. Ashwini Vaishnav given Railways. Jyotiraditya Scindia gets Civil Aviation. Anurag Thakur is new Information and Broadcasting and Sports Minister. Dharmendra Pradhan given Education and Skill Development Ministries, while Law Ministry goes to Kiren Rijiju. Kerala government to impose stricter COVID restrictions in high positivity rate areas of the state from today. Madhya Pradesh government extends Corona curfew till the 15th of this month. RBI imposes penalty on 14 banks for non-compliance of rules. Haiti declares emergency following assassination of its president, Jovenel Moïse. England beat Denmark 2-1 to set up final clash against Italy in Euro Cup football. And in Wimbledon tennis, Novak Djokovic, Matteo Berrettini, Denis Shapovalov and Hubert Hurkacz storm into semi-finals of men's singles event. As the nationwide free COVID-19 vaccination campaign at government facilities for those above 18 years is going on, we advise our young listeners to get vaccinated and also to help others to get vaccinated. We also advise our listeners not to lower their guard as COVID-19 remains a threat to our health. Please stay at home unless it is essential to go out and continue to follow these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. For any COVID-related information and guidance, contact national helpline numbers 011-2397-8046 and 1075. And now the news. Portfolios for Prime Minister Narendra Modi's new Council of Ministers have been announced after its expansion. Home Minister Amit Shah is the new Minister of Cooperation in addition to his old home portfolio. Dharmendra Pradhan is the new Education Minister along with Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. Jyotiraditya Scindia is the new Civil Aviation Minister. Kiren Rijiju will be the Law Minister. Hardeep Singh Puri is the Minister for Petroleum and will continue in the Housing and Urban Development Ministry. Anurag Singh Thakur is the new Information and Broadcasting Minister and Youth Affairs and Sports. Mansukh Mandviya is the new Health Minister as well as the Minister for Chemical and Fertilizers. Sarbananda Sonowal is the new Ports and Shipping Minister besides holding charge of Ayush Ministry. Sonowal was Chief Minister of Assam and also served as Union Minister of State during the Narendra Modi's first government. Rajya Sabha MP from Odisha, Ashwini Vaishnav, has been allocated the charge of Railways, Communications, Electronics and IT Ministry. The alumnus of IIT Kanpur and Wharton School, Pennsylvania, was an IAS officer and also held leadership roles across major global companies like General Electric and Siemens. Bhupender Yadav will be the Labour Minister. An advocate, Mr. Yadav is presently General Secretary of the BJP. JDU leader Ramchandra Prasad Singh is the Steel Minister. A former IAS officer, RCP Singh, is presently National President of the JDU. LJP leader Pashupati Kumar Paras is the Food Processing Industries Minister. He was elected to Bihar Assembly 7 times and also served as Minister in the state. Dr. Virendra Kumar is the new Social Justice and Empowerment Minister. He was Minister of State in the first Narendra Modi government. Narayan Rane will be the Minister for MSME. He has served as Chief Minister of Maharashtra. Purushottam Rupla, who has been elevated to Cabinet, is Minister for Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairying. Rajkumar Singh heads the Power and Ministry of New and Renewable Energy as a Cabinet Minister. Giriraj Singh is Minister for Rural Development and Panchayati Raj. G. Kishan Reddy is the new Culture and Tourism Minister. Piyush Goyal keeps Commerce Ministry and also holds Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution and Textiles. Meenakshi Lekhi will be the MOS in External Affairs and Culture Ministry. Dr. L. Murugan will be the MOS in the Information Broadcasting and Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairying Ministry. Minister of State and PMO Dr. Jitendra Singh has been given the independent charge of Ministries of Science and Technology and Earth Sciences. Shripad Naik will be the Minister of State for Port, Shipping and Waterways and Tourism. Pankaj Chaudhary and Dr. Bhagbat Karad will be the Minister of State for Finance. Dr. Rajkumar Ranjan Singh will be Minister of State for External Affairs and Education. Ajay Bhatt will be Minister of State for Defence and Tourism. Ajay Kumar and Nishit Pramanik will be the Ministers of State for Home. Dr. Bharati Praveen Pawar will be the Minister of State for Health and Family Welfare. Bisheshwar Tudu will be the Minister of State for Tribal Affairs and Jal Shakti. Anupriya Singh Patel will be the Minister of State for Commerce and Industry. Annapurna Devi and Dr. Subhash Sarkar will be Ministers of State for Education. John Bharla will be Minister of State for Minority Affairs.
More than 36 crore 13 lakh doses of COVID-19 vaccines have been administered so far under the nationwide vaccination drive. The Health Ministry said more than 36 lakh vaccine doses were administered in the last 24 hours. The COVID-19 recovery rate in the country stands at 97.18%. More than 47,000 patients recovered in the last 24 hours. In the last 24 hours, more than 43,000 new cases were also reported. In all, 930 deaths were reported in the last 24 hours. With this, the death toll due to the pandemic has reached 4,04,211. India's cumulative COVID vaccination coverage has exceeded the 36 crore 45 lakh mark. The Union Health Ministry in a statement said the cumulative figure of vaccination stands at 36 crore 45 lakh 69,414. The Orissa government has clarified the daily list of people being declared as having succumbed to COVID-19 does not reflect the deaths occurring on that particular day. More from our Bhubaneswar correspondent.
In a virtual press briefing yesterday, Additional Chief Secretary Health clarified that since the doctors were occupied in treating COVID-19 patients amidst a spot in cases in May and June last, they could not give time to review the fatalities. However, since now the situation has improved, each death is being reported following due procedure and audit, and that the recent rise in COVID-19 death cases, in fact, is due to the inclusion of past fatalities occurred during last May and June. Worth noting that the state has been reporting COVID-19 deaths in the range of 40 to 50 per day for the last many days before it peaked to an all-time high of 59 deaths reported yesterday. Ganesh Chandra Das, AIR News, Bhubaneswar.
Madhya Pradesh government has extended the COVID-19 restrictions till July 15th. In a letter sent to all the district collectors, Additional Chief Secretary Rajesh Rajora has asked them to strictly implement the COVID guidelines. At the same time, more than 2 crore 24 lakh vaccines have been administered in the state so far. More from our Bhopal correspondent.
A special campaign, Teekakaran Maha-Abhiyan, is being run for vaccination in the state from July 1st. Under the campaign, more than 4,31,000 people were vaccinated yesterday. Maximum 42,511 vaccines were administered in Indore and 27,000 in Bhopal. Meanwhile, 28 new cases of corona infection have been reported in Madhya Pradesh in the last 24 hours, while 32 people have recovered and been discharged from hospitals. The number of active cases in the state has come down to 441. More than 74,000 samples were tested in the state yesterday. Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan has given instructions to make all the preparations to counter the possible third wave of corona pandemic in the state. Sanjeev Sharma, AIR News, Bhopal.
In Kerala, the revised restrictions based on the test positivity rate in the state will come into effect from today. Stringent regulations will be implemented in those areas where the test positivity rate is more than 15%. In areas where the test positivity rate is less than 10%, government offices are allowed to function with the entire staff. Hotels and restaurants in such areas can operate till 9:30 at night, but services will be restricted to parcels and home delivery. Gymnasiums and indoor games are allowed to resume their function, but use of air conditioners is not allowed. Social distancing norms should be strictly adhered to. In areas where the test positivity rate is between 10 to 15%, government offices should restrict their staff percentage to 50%. Accommodation facilities in tourist spots can be open to the public as per central guidelines, but entry will be given to those with a negative RT-PCR certificate and those who have taken vaccination. Kerala continued to report surge in COVID cases as 15,600 new cases were confirmed yesterday. The test positivity rate is 10.36%. 148 deaths were also reported. The active caseload in the state has increased to 7,925.
Mumbai Special Court has remanded Girish Chaudhary, son-in-law of NCP leader Eknath Khatse, into the Enforcement Directorate's custody till Monday. He was arrested yesterday in a money laundering case linked to the purchase of a government land plot in Pune in 2016. The arrest was made after ED claimed that Chaudhary was not cooperating with the probe. In 2017, Maharashtra Anti-Corruption Bureau ACB had registered an FIR against Eknath Khatse, his wife Mandakini, son-in-law Girish Chaudhary and original landowner Abbas Akhani. Even though the ACB has given a clean chit to Khatse, the ED has summoned him to appear before it today. You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Portfolios of union ministers announced following yesterday's cabinet reshuffle. Home Minister Amit Shah given additional charge of newly created Cooperation Ministry. Mansukh Manjavia is new Health Minister. Labour and Environment Ministries go to Bhupendra Yadav. Ashwini Vaishnav given Railways. Jyotiraditya Scindia gets Civil Aviation. Anurag Thakur is new Information, Broadcasting and Sports Minister. Dharmendra Pradhan given Education and Skill Development Ministries, while Law Ministry goes to Kiren Rijiju. Kerala government to impose stricter COVID restrictions in high positivity rate areas of the state from today. Madhya Pradesh government extends Corona curfew till 15th of this month. RBI imposes penalty on 14 banks for non-compliance of rules. Haiti declares emergency following assassination of its president, Jovenel Moïse. England beat Denmark 2-1 to set up final clash against Italy in Eurocup football. And in Wimbledon tennis, Novak Djokovic, Matteo Berrettini, Denis Shapovalov and Hubert Hurkacz storm into semi-finals of men's singles event. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो कुछ वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
The Centre is disseminating awareness of national helpline numbers for the benefit of citizens during the COVID-19 pandemic. The helpline number of the Health and Family Welfare Ministry is 1075. The Child Helpline number is 1098. For senior citizens of Delhi, Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Telangana, Uttar Pradesh and Uttarakhand, the helpline number is 14567. The helpline number of the National Institute of Mental Health and Neurosciences, NIMHANS, for psychological support is 08046110007. The Ayush COVID-19 Counselling Helpline number is 14443 and MyGov WhatsApp Help Desk number is 9013151515.
The RBI has imposed monetary penalty on 14 banks for non-compliance with certain provisions of directions issued by it regarding lending to non-banking financial companies, creation of a central repository of large common exposures, and operational guidelines for small finance banks. The RBI informed that it had issued notices to the said banks post-scrutiny of accounts, and the penalty was levied only after duly considering the extent the charges of non-compliance with RBI directions, contraventions or provisions of Banking Regulation Act 1949. We have more in this report from our Mumbai correspondent.
The banks which have been penalized are Bank of Baroda, which has been fined 2 crore rupees, the Bandhan Bank, Bank of Maharashtra, Central Bank of India, Credit Suisse, Indian Bank, IndusInd Bank, Karnataka Bank, Karur Vaishya Bank, Punjab and Sindh Bank, South Indian Bank, the Jammu and Kashmir Bank and Utkarsha Small Finance Bank have been fined 1 crore of penalty each. The State Bank of India has been fined 50 lakh rupees. The RBI has said that the action is based on the deficiencies in regulatory compliance and is not intended to pronounce upon the validity of any transaction or agreement entered into by the banks with their customers. Kunal Shinde, AIR News, Mumbai.
Indian naval ship INS Tabar has concluded a 2-day naval exercise with the Italian Navy in the Tyrrhenian Sea as part of the ongoing deployment to the Mediterranean. INS Tabar conducted a maritime partnership exercise with ITS Antonio Marsiglia, a frontline frigate of the Italian Navy, over the weekend. According to a defense press release, the exercise covered a wide range of naval operations, including air defense procedures, replenishment of sea, communication drills and cross-deck helo operations by day and night. It added that the exercise was mutually beneficial in enhancing interoperability and towards consolidating combined operations against maritime threats.
The External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar, met his Iranian counterpart, Javad Zarif, and had delegation-level discussions on regional and global affairs in Tehran. Dr. Jaishankar made a stopover in Iran yesterday en route to Moscow. In a tweet, Dr. Jaishankar thanked President-elect Ibrahim Raisi for his gracious welcome in Iran. He handed over a personal message from Prime Minister Modi. Dr. Jaishankar said, India deeply values Mr. Raisi's strong commitment to strengthen bilateral ties and expand cooperation on regional and global issues. The Delimitation Commission, comprising Justice Retired Ranjana Prakash Desai, Chief Election Commissioner Sushil Chandra and Deputy Election Commissioner Chandra Bhushan, is presently on a 4-day visit to Jammu and Kashmir in connection with the delimitation exercise. The Commission arrived in Srinagar on Tuesday and met various political leaders and delegations in the Kashmir Valley during the first 2 days of their visit to the Union Territory. More from our Srinagar correspondent.
The Delimitation Commission, headed by Justice Retired Ranjana Prakash Desai, visited Pahalgam in southern district of Anantnag yesterday and met several delegations and members of various political parties, apart from the district election officers of Anantnag, Shopian, Pulwama and Kulgam districts. Earlier, the Commission, on its first day visit in Srinagar, interacted with various political parties who presented their views and suggestions in connection with the ongoing exercise of carving out new constituencies in Jammu and Kashmir. On the remaining 2 days of their visit, that is today and tomorrow, the Commission is scheduled to visit Kishtwar and Jammu in the Jammu province and interact with various political parties, civil societies and district election officers. Sunil Kohl, AIR News, Srinagar.
Former Himachal Pradesh Chief Minister and senior Congress leader Veerbhadra Singh passed away today after a prolonged illness. Veerbhadra Singh died at the Indira Gandhi Medical College, Shimla, in the wee hours today due to multi-organ failure. 87-year-old Veerbhadra Singh is the longest-serving Chief Minister of Himachal Pradesh. The 87-year-old veteran Congress leader was currently the MLA from Arki in Solan district. 9-time MLA and 5-time MP, Singh was Himachal Pradesh's Chief Minister for 6 terms. It may be recalled that earlier Veerbhadra had been admitted to Max Hospital at Mohali after he tested positive for COVID on April 12th. After recovering and being discharged from the hospital, his health again deteriorated and he was being treated at INJMC Emla, where he breathed his last. Haiti has declared a state of emergency after the assassination of its president, Jovenel Moïse, who was shot dead and his wife was injured in an attack on their home in the nation's capital, Port-au-Prince. Calling for calm interim, Prime Minister Claude Joseph said unidentified gunmen stormed the property. He said the police and military were in control of security in Haiti. Mr. Joseph said the attackers were foreigners who spoke English and Spanish. He called for an international investigation into the assassination. He said that elections scheduled for later this year should be held and pledged to work with Moïse's allies and opponents alike. First Lady Martine Moïse later reportedly arrived by plane in Fort Lauderdale, South Florida, U.S. for treatment. There is no official word on her condition. Mr. Moïse had led the Caribbean country with one of the poorest nations in the world since 2017, but had faced widespread protests demanding his resignation. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres condemned the assassination in the strongest terms and stressed that the perpetrators of the crime must be brought to justice. UN Security Council is scheduled to hold an emergency closed meeting on Haiti today. U.S. President Joe Biden said he is shocked and saddened to hear of the horrific assassination and condemned this heinous act. Governments in Latin America, the Caribbean, Europe and elsewhere also expressed their concern at Haiti's plight.
The world's first solo motorcycle expedition, undertaken by Ms. Kanchan Ogusandi, covering 18 treacherous passes in northern Himalayan ranges, culminated at Seema Sadak Bhavan in New Delhi yesterday. The expedition was flagged off by Defence Minister Rajnath Singh on 11th of June from New Delhi. The Defence Ministry said that the month-long expedition witnessed many firsts by a solo woman rider. Ms. Ugusandi has become the first solo woman biker to scale the Umlingla Pass, the first woman to cover the 18 passes, and also the first woman to traverse a distance of 3,187 kilometers from New Delhi, Manali, Leh, Umlingla and Delhi in one go. On to sports now. In Eurocup football, England beat Denmark 2-1 to set up final clash against Italy. England reached its first major international tournament final after a gap of 55 years as the Three Lions registered a win against Denmark in the second semi-final of Euro 2020 at the Wembley Stadium in London. Harry Kane converted the rebound after his initial penalty was saved in the 104th minute to give England a come-from-behind 2-1 win over Denmark in extra time in the semi-finals. England will clash with Italy in the finals. In the first semi-final, Italy beat Spain on penalties to reach the final of the tournament.
Listeners from all corners of the country are participating in the Olympic quiz of AIR News. A large number of listeners have sent us replies via email. Ashutosh Gaurav, a resident of Ranchi, Jharkhand, has sent the correct answer to Tuesday's question. He has become the winner of our Tuesday's question. Talking to AIR News, Ashutosh expressed his happiness on winning the Olympic quiz. Ashutosh said that he is a regular listener of All India Radio News.
मुझे इस बात की बहुत ही खुशी है कि मैंने 6 जुलाई के ओलंपिक क्विज का सही जवाब सबसे पहले दिया और विजेता बना। स्पोर्ट्स स्कैन के द्वारा ओलंपिक क्विज एक बहुत ही सराहनीय कदम है। इसकी मैं भूरी प्रशंसा करता हूं क्योंकि इसके द्वारा लोगों को खेल जगत के अपडेट्स को जानने का सुनहरा अवसर और प्रोत्साहन मिलता है। इसके लिए मैं आकाशवाणी समाचार का तहे दिल से शुक्रिया करता हूं।
Stay tuned to participate in the Olympic Quiz Sports Scan program.
चल चूके ना निशाना लक्ष्य तेरा सामने है जीत के है आना.
In the run-up to the Tokyo Olympics, the News Services Division of All India Radio in its Sports Scan program is broadcasting every day Olympics Quiz with AIR News. Olympics Quiz आकाशवाणी समाचार के साथ in Hindi. Every day a question related to Olympics will be asked at the beginning and closing of the program. To participate in this program, listeners can send the replies by email on airsportscan@gmail.com. The first correct answer received through email will be adjudged the winner of the quiz. The name of the winner will be announced in SportsScan program the next day. It will also be flashed on AIR Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts. The Sports Authority of India will provide India team jersey to the winner. So tune in to the SportsScan program every day at 7:20 p.m. on FM Gold and on our YouTube channel, News on AIR Official.
With 16 days to go for Tokyo Olympic Games, AIR today will be profiling world number 15 ranked shuttler B. Sai Praneeth, who has maintained his world number 15 ranking to qualify for his first ever Olympics.
Born on August 10, 1992 at Palakolu in Andhra Pradesh, B. Sai Praneeth became the first Indian male shuttler in 36 years to win a bronze medal in BWF World Championships in 2019 after Prakash Pudukone in 1983. After trying hands at swimming, athletics and gymnastics, a young Praneeth was inspired by his aunt, a former national level badminton player, to take up the sport. Since then, the 28-year-old has left no stone unturned to forge himself into a formidable shuttler. In just 2 years of practice under Gopi Chand, Praneeth made his arrival by winning bronze at the BWF Junior World Championships in Mexico at the age of 18. At the 2013 Indonesian Open, Praneeth scripted a phenomenal win when he defeated badminton legend Taufiq Hidayat in a 3-game thriller. 3 years later, he beat 3-time Olympic silver medalist Lee Chong-wei at the All England Open in Birmingham before ending the season on a high with a gold at South Asian Games and his maiden Grand Prix title at Canada Open. The run continued in the following year as he clinched BWF Super Series title at Singapore Open. Gitanjali Huria Mathur for Sports Desk, AIR News.
In Wimbledon tennis, world number 1 Novak Djokovic, 7th seed Matteo Berrettini, 10th seed Denis Shapovalov and 14th seed Hubert Hurkacz have stormed into men's singles semi-finals after beating their opponents. Poland Surkar stunned 20-time Grand Slam winner Roger Federer by registering straight sets victory 6-3, 7-6, 6-0 to play Berrettini for a place in Sunday's final. Berrettini became only the second Italian man to reach the semi-finals after beating 16th seed Canada's Felix Auger-Aliassime 6-3, 5-7, 7-5, 6-3. Earlier, Serbia's Djokovic entered the semi-finals, beating unseeded Martin Fucsovics of Hungary in straight sets.
Now let's take a look at the weather forecast for the day. The national capital Delhi may witness heat wave. The minimum temperature was 30 degrees and the maximum may go up to 41 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. The minimum temperature was 27 degrees Celsius, while the maximum is expected to be around 32 degrees. In Chennai may have thunderstorm with rain. The temperature will vary between 28 and 35 degrees Celsius. Kolkata will have generally cloudy sky with possibility of 1 or 2 spells of rain. Minimum temperature was 27 and maximum will go up to 33 degrees. Jammu will have mainly clear sky becoming partly cloudy towards evening. The minimum temperature was 28 degrees Celsius while the maximum will be around 41 degrees. Srinagar will have mainly clear sky becoming partly cloudy towards evening. Temperature will hover between 17 and 33 degrees Celsius. Leh will have mainly clear sky. Minimum and maximum temperature will be between 12 and 26 degrees Celsius. Gilgit will have partly cloudy sky. Temperature will hover between 18 and 33 degrees Celsius. Muzaffarabad will have mainly clear sky becoming partly cloudy towards evening. The minimum temperature was 20 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 38 degrees. Dehradun will see generally cloudy sky with few spells of rain or thunder showers. Minimum temperature was 22 while maximum will be around 32 degrees. In Hyderabad, we'll have generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. Itanagar will have generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. The minimum temperature was 24 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 32 degrees. Kohima will have generally cloudy sky with a few spells of rain. The minimum temperature was 19 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 27 degrees. Imphal will have generally cloudy sky with few spells of rain or thunder showers. Minimum was 21 and maximum is expected to be around 28. Agartala will have generally cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. The minimum temperature was 25 degrees Celsius and the maximum will be around 31 degrees.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. Booster shot for Modi 2.0 is the lead in Hindustan Times. Mega rejig, 36 more join Modi government, 7 promoted is the lead in the Tribune. 4 top ministers, 8 others dropped, many new faces in first big Modi 2.0 shake-up, says the Asian Age on its front page. Heavyweights shown the door as PM Modi rejigs cabinet is the lead in the Hindu. PM hits delete and reset is the lead in the Indian Express. All the dailies know the passing away of thespian Dilip Kumar, who passed away yesterday at a private hospital in Mumbai at the age of 98. Suhana Safar ends for Indian cinema's Kohinoor, says the Times of India. And finally, Times of India reports CP cops to sponsor studies of girls selling bird feed. Bhumika 15, who was seen selling bird feed while immersed in her books in Connaught Place, has caught the attention of the local police officers who have decided to sponsor her education and get her admitted to a girls' school in the area.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Portfolios of union ministers announced following yesterday's cabinet reshuffle. Home Minister Amit Shah given additional charge of newly created Cooperation Ministry. Mansukh Mandviya is the new Health Minister. Labour and Environment Ministries go to Bhupender Yadav. Ashwini Vaishnav given Railways. Jyotiraditya Scindia gets Civil Aviation. Anurag Thakur is new Information and Broadcasting and Sports Minister. Dharmendra Pradhan given Education and Skill Development Ministries, while Law Ministry goes to Kiren Rijiju. Kerala government to impose stricter COVID restrictions in high positivity rate areas of the state from today. Madhya Pradesh government extends Corona curfew till the 15th of this month. RBI imposes penalty on 14 banks for non-compliance of rules. Haiti declares emergency following assassination of its president Jovenel Moïse. England beat Denmark 2-1 to set up final clash against Italy in Euro Cup football. And in Wimbledon tennis, Novak Djokovic Matteo Berrettini, Denis Shapovalov and Hubert Hurkacz storm into semi-finals of the men's singles event. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.